So, I thought this was funny. Solo, a Star Wars story director, Ron Howard, makes bizarre claim that Lucasfilm loves the fans and really do listen. This is by John F. Trent, and let's just go through this article, and I just want to add a little bit to it towards the end. So, Solo, a Star Wars story director, Ron Howard, recently made a bizarre claim that Star Wars parent company Lucasfilm actually loves their fans and listens to them despite repeated evidence to the contrary, where they have um, derided and degenerated them. Sorry, I struggle reading. Speaking with NME while providing an update on a possible sequel to Solo, a Star Wars story that bombed, Howard first indicates Lucasfilm has no intentions of making sequel after the film bombed at the box office, despite the film being an obvious vehicle for spin-offs and return of Maul and recasting Lando Calrissian and Han Solo with younger actors. One thing with Maul, they killed him off before this in Rebels, and so not so much of a return, to be honest. Yeah, I don't think it's a Lucasfilm priority. Or Howard told the outlet, the only discussion that I'm aware of about being a sequel for Solo is coming from the fans at this point. I don't know anyone who's talking about this other than making fun of the idea. To be honest, all the Star Wars groups I don't think any of us wants to see a sequel to Solo because that movie was bad. Yeah, I don't think it's a Lucasfilm priority as I understand it. Howard then went on to claim Lucasfilm loves its fans, which that is a blatant lie. We'll get to that. He stated, but there's some great characters launch and folks from Lucasfilm love the fans. The folks from Lucasfilm love the fans. That's a blatant lie. And really do listen to, so I would never say never, but I'm not aware of any concrete plans right now to extend the story or deal with that particular set of characters. Yeah, well, the actors weren't good in those roles. I'm not saying that they're bad actors. I said that they were miscast. It's hard to imagine Lucasfilm loves its fans when Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy made it crystal clear from the onset that she set out to radically alter the company and the products it creates. Back in 2015, at Fortune magazine Most Powerful Women Summit, Kennedy revealed the role she played in making Rey the main character in the Star Wars The Force Awakens. I would play this video, but I don't want to be claimed, so let's continue reading. She responds saying, "It's one of the first things JJ and I talked about, and that we talked to Alan Horn about it, and it was a very early decision, the choice, and something that we worked a long time developing." She went on to discuss her conversations with a number of licensing partners about putting a female character as the main protagonist in Star Wars. She stated, "I think the interesting path we had is the conversation that took place around the consumer products, because there's a lot of companies that were in a place who frankly didn't initially feel that Star Wars was for girls." Now, Star Wars has always been for both boys and girls. Both There's nothing wrong with a girl liking Star Wars at all. There's nothing wrong with the female protagonist of Star Wars. Honestly, it kind of makes like Anakin and Luke. It just kind of makes them stand out a little bit more. However, as we're going to go on through this article, she basically made it exclusively for girls and tried actively pushing the guys away. So, continue reading. She said, "I think the interesting path we had is the conversation that took place around consumer products, because there were a lot of companies that were in place who frankly did intentionally feel that Star Wars was for girls." Okay, we read that. So he elaborated, "And when you have a company situation where between Lucasfilm and Disney, we were all looking at the situation saying, no, with Star Wars, we have to change this. We have to make sure that we create products that are sense appealing for both boys and girls. What's wrong with that?" Well, the thing is, you actively push the male audience away, and you start pushing for this female audience that is not really as interested in what you're trying to sell. That's one of the biggest problems that you faced. But yeah, so why she was intentionally claiming that she wanted products for both boys and girls when she provided an example explicitly for creating products for girls. Kennedy said, I mean, even with simple things like t shirts, there's a fantastic story with this young woman who came to Lucasfilm in 2009. She played the character of Ahsoka in both Rebels, and she also had a role in the Clone Wars. She came to Lucasfilm in 2000 saying, aren't there clothes that are tied to Star Wars for girls? And she struggled with that for quite a while and put a company together called Her Universe and doing unbelievable business. This, of course, being Ashley Eckstein. Um, I don't know why this article doesn't say her name, but the thing is, every girl that I knew that wore Star Wars apparel just grabbed a guy's t-shirt in a smaller size. No, it didn't have the curves, but I also saw girls making their own stuff. So I guess she didn't want to wear anything that's made for guys. Maybe she's actually the sexist one. So I mean, yeah, you don't have the female curves, but these women says they're against the male gaze now, so why does it matter? Not only did Kennedy reveal that she wanted to ensure that Lucasfilm was more of a girl brand, but earlier in the panel discussion, she also made it clear that she wanted to also change the demographics of the company's employees. In fact, she claimed she already had. She stated the fact that the company was bought by Walt Disney Company and has been amazing because they very much support the fact that we are trying to grow in the workforce a number of women in executive positions and all positions inside the company. So instead of getting the best person for the job, you hired only. And with the movies that are making with the protagonists that we are putting in the stories, so I get a huge amount of support with that, she continued. Then she touted, we have a 50% of our executive team are women, and 6 out of 8 of the people on the story group are women. And I'm sure that there's a lot of people that would be surprised that we're making Star Wars movies, and the majority of people involved in the development of the stories are women. And I think it's making a huge difference in the stories that we're trying to tell. Yes, it's making a difference because you're hiring somebody based off their sex or their gender, whatever you want to put it, versus their actual skill. That is the problem. Not only did Kathleen Kennedy claim that she set out from the beginning to fundamentally change the stories of Star Wars to tell, but under leadership, the company has actively attacked its fans, whether it's The Last Jedi director Ruan Johnson calling his critics man babies, or the entire Star Wars brand decrying their fans as racist. After Lucasfilm employee Christina Arila posted numerous tweets where she called all white people racist. So she's calling all people racist. So here's a racist right here. According to Christina Arita, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, Star Wars officially backed her position, tweeting, "Our Star Wars community is one of the hope of inclusivity, and we do not stand for bullying and racism. We support Christina Arita." Um, so okay, so Lucasfilm and Star Wars supported a bully who's gatekeeping and wants to force white people out from the franchise, according to her. Our Star Wars community is one of hope and inclusivity, and we do not stand for bullying and racism. We support at Christina Arella. Sorry if I'm still pronouncing that. On our top, on top of these obvious despicable behavior towards their fans, the actual films, TV shows, and comics they've produced actually insulted their fans by making mockery of legendary characters like Luke Skywalker, Yoda, and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Luke Skywalker is shown in The Last Jedi as a man who has given up hope and abandoned everything he stood for. At one point in the film, he tosses his lightsaber over his shoulder like a piece of garbage. He's even beaten down by Rey, who has zero training with a lightsaber. So, to go on this, Luke Skywalker, original trilogy, his story between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi is that he can still see good in Darth Vader, despite everything Vader has done. And he couldn't see good in Kylo Ren enough to redeem him and panicked and tried to take his life. I don't buy that for a second. The discretion of a character continued in the Book of Boba Fett, where younger versions of the character gave Guru a very Sith-like choice between his friends Din Djarin and the Jedi. It was a choice that Luke rejected himself when he chose to attempt to save his friends at Bespin, and doubled down when he went to redeem his father, despite Yoda and Obi-Wan encouraging him to kill his father in a lightsaber duel. Yeah, that's my biggest problem with the Book of Boba Fett. the more you show Luke, the more Luke he's like now. There is immeasurable evidence that Lucasfilm does not love its fans and actively does not listen to them. One need only look at their new production, The Acolyte. Um, Instead of providing fans with a Star Wars story set in the accurate expanded universe, the Old Republic, the company created its own look to break George Lucas's lore around a Sith in a show set in Disney's creation, The High Republic, which I've read a couple of those books. I can't read anymore because 80% of them are sex based. It's disgusting. If they actually listened to fans, the High Republic wouldn't even exist, and there would be a plethora of interesting stories in the Old Republic. So the Acolytes also headed up, I can't remember her name, but Wyving Hardstein's personal assistant's in charge of that show. So keep that in mind, especially when they recently came out with a movie to attack Wyving Hardstein that bombed. So what do you think of Ron Howard's comments about Lucasfilm loving its Star Wars fans and actually listening to them? Like I said, they provided plenty of evidence here, but I don't think they went far enough. There's tons more evidence of Lucasfilm actively hating their fans. So let's see. So yeah, the force is female. So you had Kathleen Kennedy this entire time supporting basically the female side of Star Wars fans and basically ignoring the male and actively attacking them. Um, Lucasfilm is also such a bad state where you can see her female agenda with the rumors of the next Indiana Jones movie, where the ending was initially that they're going to kill Indiana Jones off and replace him with a girl, basically through all the movies. Which once again, that this rumor is even being taken seriously shows you how far Lucasfilm has fallen. I'm not saying this rumors end up going to be true or not. I don't know. Things are up in the air right now, but people are actually considering this rumor to be true. That just kind of tells you enough that yeah, Lucasfilm has a very big sexist problem against men. So you also have Ryan Johnson here, who before his movie came out attacked fans for their Snoke theories, but he didn't do anything with Snoke. He just killed him off. Doesn't build him any theories about Snoke at all. Just cut him off. So that character story was pointless in the end because of this man. You also have Pablo Hidalgo, really big Lucasfilm aggregate, attacking fans. Of course, with the same thing with Ruin Johnson. And you also have Pablo Hidalgo, who makes fun of Star Wars fans, like Star Wars Theory, for getting emotional at the season 2 finale of The Mandalorian, and who actually liked seeing Luke like that, and who actually liked your product, and he made fun of him for liking your product. So any normal company would have fired Pablo Hidalgo a long time ago for these actions. Go check out Star Wars Theory. He actually has a really good channel. He tries to stay positive about Star Wars despite how much Lucasfilm attacks him. So then you have Andy Gutierrez, who, when The Last Jedi came out, posted this picture, delicious, of drinking fanboy tears, because people hated The Last Jedi despite how much um, they tried to say otherwise. So another person that should have been fired a long time ago. And more recently, with the Kenobi series, Star Wars stands up for Obi-Wan Kenobi actor Moses Ingram after she got racist messages. They even got the actor who played Obi-Wan in his car to call out racist before the show even premiered. And to explain this meme a little bit more, just kind of try and attack racists. The Force Awakens poster, you have Finn prominently here right next to the Starkiller base on the poster, and they shrunk him down for China to give in to Chinese racism. So, hypocrite much, Disney? Another thing that I want to talk about involving Disney's active racism is Star Wars and Lucasfilm caved to activists calling them racist over the Bad Batch character designs. So, okay. Lucasfilm originally admitted that they caved to numerous activists that accused them over racism over the character designs in the animated series Star Wars: The Bad Batch. They're saying that um, Lucasfilm whitewashed these characters. Now, Basically, if you actually even look at the character's skin color, there's kind of a variety between each of them, even though they're all supposed to be modified clones. This one was supposed to be a regular clone, and he's more pale because he was actually hooked up to a supercomputer, and he's more machine now than man. But but yeah, just pay attention kind of close to their skin color, and let's just take a look at Tamara Morrison and his skin tone comparatively to the characters of the Bad Batch. This is from season one, and I think, at least to me, their skin tone looks darker than already to Tamara Morrison's. So, who's from New Zealand, and they're wanting, yeah. Let's take a closer look at this article. I wasn't going to originally, but uh, the Bad Batch. D. Beverly Baker plays him, which he's a voice acting legend. To be honest, in the field, he's played hundreds of beloved characters, and I can never recognize him when it's him. He's such a great voice actor. But yeah, it isn't. Here we go. If it still isn't clear, Baker being a white and doing this accent is equivalent to him being hired to play a black character and then poorly attempting an African American vernacular English accent. That's racist. So, but yeah. While his skin is leaning towards the darker side of everyone, Bad Batch it still isn't where it should be. So they even want their skin to be even darker than it already is, which they apparently fixed for season two. Okay, here we go. Uh, isn't it bad enough that they got a white American to do a freaking quiet racist imitation of a um, Maori actors voicing to play the clones in animated without them straight up bleaching them? No way I'm possibly watching this. I'm not going to say that word. Yeah, so you just have a bunch of racists that are saying that their skin needs to be even darker. But yeah, it's pretty stupid. But they're saying that Tamora Morrison isn't whatsoever. Now has wanted to go to New Zealand's own website about what they have to say about the people. Maori were the first to arrive in New Zealand, journeying in canoes from Hawaii about 1,000 years ago. Dutchman, Abel Tasman, and the first European to sight the country, but it was the British who made New Zealand part of their empire. So I'm probably butchering a lot of those names. I'm sorry about that. I wish I was better at pronunciation this period. But yeah, you have this British Empire influence there. So I don't know how much of history because this is their own website and this is what they give me. Their own websites give me to work with right now. But it sounds like the Maori um, have entangled with the British Empire for probably 200 plus years now. So there's a good chance. I don't know for sure what Tamora Morrison's genealogy is, but I don't think that should matter. I think anybody should be able to play any role in acting as long as you do a good job. And plus, voice acting, with Brie Dagley Baker, it's pretty evident. So I guess they're listening. They are listening to fans, but they're listening to fans that call them racist. So anyway, tell me your thoughts down below. I think this is utterly ridiculous that they claim Lucasfilm loves the fans and really do listen. They're being really selective in what they listen. So remember to like, comment, subscribe, and see you all next time. Goodbye.